Hey, what's going on, everybody? I figured I would do a review on these two awesome Rolex watches that seems to be a pretty debated topic as far as when you're buying your first stainless steel sub. I did a lot of research myself when I was buying my first couple Submariners, and these two really are definitely top of the list for most people. I couldn't never really find a great video out there that describes the things that I wanted to really see in them when I first was looking. So I figured I'd make a video and hopefully answer some of those questions. I went out and just got both of them because I really wanted to see which one I would truly like better. Now I've had about 10 to 12 subs at this point, just playing trial and error, and I finally found the perfect one, and I will reveal the perfect sub in my opinion at the end of this video. So we'll start here with the watches. I got a date sub, reference 16610. This is a 2005 D serial. Really good condition. This is almost like brand new. And this is my 14060M series. This is a 2006, also really good shape. We'll go ahead and jump in. We'll start with the date model. So the date model, this watch is really a spectacular piece in my opinion. It serves so many good purposes. It's such a perfect watch for any occasion. You can wear it in a bathing suit all the way up to a suit and tie in the same day, and I think it's perfect for a lot of those reasons. We'll start just kind of give you a quick description. It's got 4 lines of text here, like most newer ones do. It's got Super Luminova for lume, which is great, green in color. 120 click bezel, pretty standard on all Rolexes. This one has the non-engraved inner ring. I don't know if you can see it in there. This camera, I'm using a GoPro, so it doesn't really zoom in too well, but I absolutely hate the engraved inner rings on the new ones. I think it's just such a stupid, blingy effort that Rolex did to just try to kind of make their watches more blingy, and I hate it, so I don't buy that inner ring. This is the no holes case. You'll see this in post 2003 watches. Really made for a cleaner look. It's also post 2003, I believe they upgraded the movement as well. You'll see that this watch has a thicker case than the no date, which I'll compare the two here in a little while. Solid end link bracelet right here. Well, the end links are solid, which makes it heavier, more sturdy. Definitely a great bracelet to have on the Oyster bracelet. And lastly, the clasp, which is just your standard older clasp. They've been making this clasp they made it for 50 years, and it's, in my opinion, one of the greatest clasps on a watch that I've ever had. So we'll go ahead and look at the no date real quick, go over some of the key features. Again, this is a 2006 serial. So obviously with this one, first thing you notice, it doesn't have the Cyclops lens with the date. It's flat crystal, sapphire crystal glass. Again, this is your standard 120 click bezel. You got 2 lines of text down here, which is definitely a little less cluttered than the other one. What else we got? Again, non-engraved inner ring. I love the look of that. I absolutely hate the new engraved inner rehaut ring. So these watches, the 14060 no date series, they have a holes case, as you can see. We'll talk about that a little later, but I don't mind the holes case at all, especially on this watch, and I'll explain why. Again, this is Super Luminova. On some of the older models, like the 14060 no date series, on the bottom here at 6 o'clock, instead of saying Swiss made, it'll say T Swiss T, meaning it had a tritium dial. I owned one of those, and it was a great piece. The thing I hated about it was the lume. The tritium lume did not work. It was a 1995 serial, and as many know, the tritium goes sour after X amount of years, whereas the Luminova, it lasts a long time. I don't think it has an expiration date, really. So that's a great thing I like. And this watch also has an upgraded movement from its previous model, the 14060. This watch comes standard with hollow end link oyster bracelet, as you can kind of see here. It's got that half link. So hollow end link bracelet, it's lighter. People tend to say it's flimsier and kind of with a tinny feeling. I'll talk about that a little later. And the clasp is generally the same as this one, except it is a little different. And that's actually my biggest complaint about this watch is the clasp. So let's talk about the clasp. We'll go ahead and take this off here. Well, I'll leave this on for a minute. So as you can see how I'm pulling this clasp? It hangs freely in a way that it doesn't clip in all the way. That's the diver extension you see right there. I'm trying to get you to, hopefully you can see it. That piece hangs freely. Now, what can happen is, depending on where it's set, you can nick this on something and watch what happens. Holy shit, look what just happened. The clasp came undone. The watch is at the bottom of the ocean now. So that's one thing I hate about this watch. You really got to be careful when you're wearing it with this interesting diver's extension that they came on. Luckily, the way I wear it, it won't fall off my wrist like that. It'll just kind of come to the end of my wrist. And it's only happened twice, and they were both out at bars drinking. I walked into someone and it clipped their shirt by accident, and it came unclipped. So that's not a good thing. Do a quick wrist shot. Well, actually, while we're talking about the clasp, let's talk about this clasp. I absolutely love this clasp for that reason. Is look, you pull it, nothing happens. It doesn't come undone. Why is that? Well, if you can see in there, that piece clips in totally to the clasp. So when you have to actually push this button in right here to get it out completely. And then when you do, it's hard to explain without doing it, but this piece, that whole piece right there, you have to clip it. So it's 100% solid. It's not going anywhere. I really, really wish they did that on the no-date model. It would complete the package for me as being the perfect watch. Unfortunately, they didn't, but it's right there. So that's kind of what's going on with the clasp. So really, which one of these is the keeper? I mean, which one is the perfect watch, the perfect Rolex to have? That's really the question, isn't it? My choice, my personal choice is the no-date sub. Why? This watch it's so unique in its own ways to anything else that Rolex has come out with in a long time, I think. Perfectly symmetrical dial, 2 lines of text. I mean, it's so simplistic, it's so easy. It's not cluttered at all. You could fold it in half and it's perfectly symmetrical. It's really the best homage to a tool watch, an old school vintage tool Rolex that's out there, I think. The new no dates, the ceramic, you know, I like them. I don't think I would buy one, but I do like them. I owned a ceramic date and it was great, but I hated the thicker thicker lugs on top. I hated the inner bezel design engraving there. But I think this watch is really just perfect in so many different ways. It totally flies under the radar. I'll kind of put it on the wrist here. I got to put the diver's extension back in. People rarely notice this as being a Rolex from my experience wearing it. And I love that. I don't like a watch that people point out because they see that it's a Rolex and they start asking you how much you paid for it, and it's a pretentious thing for me. I like a watch that, like this one, the only people who are going to notice it and point it out are people who know what it is and can respect it. To me, that's just the fun of it. Like, I would prefer a conversation with someone who appreciates it for what it is than 10 conversations about a gold Rolex or a Rolex that is more identifiable and people just commenting on it because of the pretentious value. So that's another big thing for me. It's also just a really comfortable watch. The hollow end link bracelet on this, I'll touch on that. A lot of people rumor that it's tinny and cheap, and you can hear it jingling there a little bit, but it's actually lighter than the solid end link bracelet on this, and you kind of just forget you're wearing it, and it's great. Look up reviews. These bracelets do not fail. They are strong, they're light, and this watch, I mean, when someone was strapping this watch on back in the late 50s, when the 50s when these came out, this watch just, I mean, it was being strapped on to be used as a tool, to tell a diver a reliable time underneath the surface. Like, that's what it was being used for. When are you going to need the date below at 80 feet below the water? You don't. That's why I think, they say that if you want a date sub, buy a date sub, but if you want a Rolex Submariner, you buy this right here. And after wearing it for almost a year, I can attest and definitely say that this is a keeper for me. I'll probably never get rid of this watch. Another great thing about this watch, compared to this one, is the price. You can get, I mean, it's cheaper than the date model. You can get a full set, full set, watch only, whatever. You can get into one of these for $3,500 to $4 grand, $4,500 in pristine condition. This one, you're looking at between $45 and $55, depending on condition and whether it's got the box and papers or not. But before I wrap this up, I don't want to be too wordy here. I'll just show you a quick, you've seen this one on my wrist now. I said that this one is a little thinner of a case, as you can see, wears a lot smaller on the wrist. I'll go ahead and throw on the date model real quick. I don't know if you can see, but this watch fits me perfect. Great piece. I love this watch, but if I have to pick between the two, it's going to be the no date model. You can see it kind of sits a little higher because it's a thicker wrist, or a thicker case there rather, and the Cyclops is kind of loud. You can kind of see it, and again, that's one of those identifiable things by Rolex, but I do love the bracelet on this, the solid end link bracelet. I do like it. The clasp is really the winner for me when it comes to this watch. Truthfully, I don't want to customize this one, but if I have to, I would put this clasp on this watch. I'm actually selling this watch right here, this date model. I only need one Rolex in my collection, and that's this one right here. So I hope I answered some questions for any potential buyers who are on the fence about these two watches. But if you want to wear it at work and you need the date, this date model is a great piece to have. It'll last many years under the proper care, and both these watches are great. If you want to have both, get both. But if I will add one more thing. If I were to get a date model sub, I would get another two-tone blue gold sub. I had one, I loved it, I sold it, I miss it, I want to get another one, but that's all I got. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me or whatnot, and have a good day. Thanks.